Hey, Craptaculars and Expanded Universe fans. It is that spooky time of year. We hope that you are subscribed to the Cinema Craptaculus channel and you've given us a review and a rating and told all your friends about the Cinema Craptaculus podcast channel. Each month we offer our unique insights into movies, geek, and pop culture and what's going on in the entertainment industry. And Halloween. Oh my gosh, the Expanded Universe Halloween episode is about to start now, and I don't have a costume. Hello, and thank you for joining us on this Halloween episode of Cinema Craptaculus Presents the Expanded Universe, with your hosts John H. Ford, Mario Doc Diaz, and S'more. From movies to TV series to toys to comics to pop culture to holidays. What was I trying to do there? Was trying to be spooky? I don't know. Well, this show is your safe space for all things geeky and spooky, and where you can get your geek on. This is John H., and with me, as always, is my geektacular co-host,
S'more. Hello, H.
S'more. There's no Doc.
No Doc.
No, it's a Halloween episode, so it's going to be, he'll be here in spirit.
Ha! I see what you did there. No, I think he's building his costume right now. Isn't he going to be like, I don't know, like Loki?
The Flash!
He's going to be Flash. Ezra Miller Flash.
Yeah. No, he's going to be a Nolan character. He's going to be Oppenheimer. We'll get into that later.
Oh, that's right. That's right. He bought the hat. He's totally going to be Oppenheimer.
Because he loves Nolan. He loves Nolan.
He loves Nolan so much. It's almost disturbing how much he loves Chris Nolan.
I think we're going to rename the Expanded Universe Doc's Love of Nolan. It's just going to be every episode is an episode of why Doc just loves Christopher Nolan movies.
All Doc, all Nolan, all the time.
We get so much mileage out of that. Wait, I think I brought up Halloween.
Yes.
So I'm going to jump into our episode.
Okay.
It's that time of year, Expanded Universe listeners, when ghosts and goblins, witches and monsters show up. And no, I'm not talking about our unwanted family members, politicians, and our exes in our social media feed. It's Halloween time.
Spooky.
Look. The world is a crazy, crazy place. And in many ways, scarier than most horror movies. So today, we geeks would like to argue the merits of Halloween itself. Insert Ryan Reynolds' voice. Why should we celebrate? Why should we care? Or should I ask, why should we scare?
Ha!
See what I did there? We're going to go over lots of topics today. Halloween songs and soundtracks, our favorite Halloween treats, and what are the big Halloween costumes we're looking forward to this year. So pull up a chair, or should I say, scare, and settle in for a big old spooky episode of the Expanded Universe.
Ooh, spooky.
I think I introed this episode like 3 times.
I think you did. That's okay. It's fine. But let me ask you this. Would you say that right now, with everything going on, the world is a vampire? The world is a vampire. See what I've done there? Huh? Smashing Pumpkins fans? Pumpkin? Halloween?
Oh my gosh, S'more, you sounded so much like Smashing Pumpkins that I may have to like bleep it out because we'll get nailed for copyright.
Oh, right.
That was perfect.
All right. You're right. I'll be careful next time.
S'more, you could go as Billy Corgan.
I could.
Oh, well, the big question is, like I said, the world is a shitstorm right now. Shitburger, shit show, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Should we care about Halloween? It's October. Should we care about it?
I'm going to answer that with an affirmative. Yes, we should care about it for a couple of reasons. One being, we just need the goddamn break. Look, we got wars going on. We got strikes. We got like diseases. COVID's still a thing. We need a break. We need some fun. Halloween's fun. You get to dress up, spooky characters or whatever favorite character you want. You go out, you get candy, assuming that no one's trying to poison you. You go to parties, you drink if you're a drinker. We need Halloween. We need it.
I was kind of thinking you were going to do Liam Neeson from that Ricky Gervais Life is Short episode where he's like trying to do comedy. Tring, we're closed. I think the store has to be open for this sketch. But so thank you for not shutting it down with no, we shouldn't care about Halloween. I agree with you. For all those reasons. It is the one holiday where everybody, if you aren't offended by it, everybody can take part. It doesn't come with sort of the rigid specifics of like other holidays where there's literally certain colors and decorations and foods and timelines that you have to follow. Halloween, you can celebrate it all month, and you can theme it any way you want. You want to be Space Alien Halloween. You want to be, Michael Myers Halloween. You want to be, Universal Monsters. You can come at it from any angle, right?
Right, exactly. Any angle. And look, again, it's a holiday where kids can participate, adults, drunks, teetotalers, whatever you want. I mean, originally it did start off as a harvest holiday for like farmers and pilgrims, if I got that right or not, I can't remember. But now,
I think we did a whole episode on the origins of Halloween. Well, last year we had our guest Simon Wells, who was a UK resident that I know, who compared the differences between the two countries. And it's funny because while the UK, particularly here in England, they're not as into it. They're the ones that this neck of the woods started it.
That's true.
The Celts had their sort of spiritual, autumnal, seasonal celebration aspect of the harvest, like you mentioned. And then, of course, as it passed down, you had in Ireland these little towns where, like, the teenage boys just go around and play jokes, and the mums of the town would be like, "Hey, I'll give you this candied apple if you don't, let my pigs out."
Were they Irish? What was that?
I don't know. That was like the most ridiculously summarized and stereotypical version, but. Yes, it's funny because I thought when I came here that okay, Halloween is going to be really big in the UK. They are where the US was in the 80s and early 90s, where it's still focused on children. It's the dress up and, the cute stuff. So I think that they'll probably, because we started to notice it really kick into crazy gear early 2000s, right?
Right.
All the stores started selling costumes and wickedly expensive decorations. A little biased because we live in the entertainment industry at the time. You still do, and it's everybody goes to town. But that window from the 2000s also coincided with home ownership exploding, and it just became $1 billion plus industry. And I think that'll happen maybe over here in the UK, just maybe another 10, 15 years.
Well, so you're saying they're in the 80s right now, so soon they'll be in the 90s. So the Scream movie era, maybe? So a little bit more horror? Okay.
Yeah, when you go to the store, the little mini section, the minuscule little end cap that would have costumes, it's the shittiest 99-cent store Michael Myers, not even a Michael Myers. It was maybe a hockey mask. And it's ridiculously overpriced. Literally everything should be 99 cents.
Wow.
But they'll overcharge. And it's witch hat and green makeup to do Frankenstein face. It's literally just old school.
Wait, so not too many people dress up. Do you dress up over there, John? Tell the truth.
So I have a teenager in my midst. And so last year, the focus was on throwing a Halloween party for their friends. And that's kind of what we're doing this year. And bless him, he is doing another cardboard costume that's taking up half the living room. It's sort of an upgrade. It's Mark, what was the first Iron Man costume? Mark 1?
The Mark 1. Mark 1.
Yeah, so this year's Mark 2. It's upgraded.
Oh, that's awesome.
But no, I haven't really done the big costume since the mic drop of Quint and Jaws. I mean, when I was Quint, I built the orca ship, and my partner, my wife, was
the shark. Yes,
the shark. And while we did sort of dress up after it, that was sort of, we never really tried to attempt it. That really was kind of we'll never top it.
So basically, you retired after that.
No, if you recall, we threw parties, but we did not retire. We did not go to town in the costumes, but we would turn the Halloween parties into Halloween movie nights, which were sort of surrogate parties once
that's
we realized
right.
we couldn't get the numbers. And I don't know, right now, can we talk about Halloween movies? I mean, the writer's strike ended, but the SAG-AFTRA strike is still going on at the time that we record this. And it's sort of, I think people are not promoting things, so I'm can I even say recommend Halloween movies for our episode?
Well, see, I was going to ask you that because, yes, we still have a strike going on with the actors. So out of respect, do we not mention movies, even though the writers are done?
I think that's a good best practice, because considering we literally just had a SAG-AFTRA negotiating member on, what was it, 2 episodes ago?
Right.
Maybe it was the last episode. So I think we can avoid plenty of Halloween talk without getting into movies, although we might get into it a little bit with costumes later.
Well, people, just use your imagination. Think of a movie you like and just go with that. Roll with that.
Can I say Halloween? Because it's the holiday, not the movie.
True, but there's a trademark on that, I think, and we will be sued.
Well, since we clearly have settled the first line of topic, which was should we care about it? Yes. When we think of Halloween, what are our favorite cocktails and treats? When you think of Halloween, what do you think of? What do you ooh, yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, so the positives, because I have positives and I have negatives, right? So when I think of Halloween, I think of the big candy bars like the Snickers and the Hershey's Kisses and stuff like that. I also think about alcohol. Mostly, specialty themed alcoholic drinks. And John, I remember back in the day, you would make some of the tastiest alcohol drinks that I can think of.
Well, in all fairness, I used to do those cocktail cards that I would give out, but those were mainly for the holiday party in December. I think Halloween, it was easier to just do a punch bowl, which gets a little scary because, anybody's oh, you know what? I don't think this punch bowl has enough rum in it. Let me grab that fifth over there and add an extra, so that you gotta be careful with punch bowls because you can, and if I were a young person, I'd be scared because you don't know what people put in that.
Well, yeah, these days, yeah, you don't.
Yes, I've got a teenager, so who as he gets older and maybe starts going to things on his own, Halloween can be kind of a scary place at bars, and I think people need to just order an original cocktail and make sure you keep your eye on it.
Order an original cocktail and buddy up, people. Get your buddy, get your costume buddy there, watch the drinks, make sure someone doesn't sprinkle stuff in it. There are ways to be safe.
You brought up the candy bars, and of course, as a kid, you'd go to those wealthy households. We've talked about this. The parents who have enough money to buy those extra jumbo-sized Snickers,
right? But
they didn't have the desire or wherewithal to actually go to the door. They just let's just leave a plate out there,
right?
Or a plate of Twinkies. Take one. That was the sign, right?
That was the sign. And pro tip, people, especially people living in Los Angeles, where I'm originally from, I recommend going to the West Side for your Halloween trick or treating because they have more money and thus better treats. Just saying.
Well, I hate to say it, if we're going there, then you're not going to top Burbank, California, because that place is literally created, I swear, for Halloween. There's probably places in the Midwest.
People.
Everybody's right next. It's industry people. They a lot of them are homeowners, but they're those little World War II pillbox homes that have sidewalks and front porches that don't you don't have to ring a bell, and the best decorations you can imagine. I mean, it really is the great place for
Yeah. And that's another thing that reminds me of Halloween too. The decorations in people's homes. My God, particularly in Burbank, those decorations were ridiculously amazing. Oh.
I mean, even in my own household, I did not try to compete with some of those people. And we had a house on our street that even now still, I'm not going to give the street name just for security purposes, but it's they built a whole castle, and every year they swap it out. Sometimes it's Pirates of the Caribbean, sometimes it's literally Disneyland. I think this year they've turned it into the Universal Monsters. So they keep this castle facade on the outside of their little home. That is commitment.
Didn't they do Masters of the Universe, He-Man, Castle of Grayskull?
Probably. I don't know. Going back to the cocktails, here's a little pro tip though. We talked about being careful of what you put into it. Some people put dry ice in the punch bowl, or God forbid they put it in glass. Why is that a bad idea?
Is that safe? Can you drink dry ice?
You swallow dry ice. Not good.
I mean, it's Halloween. You're taking your life in your hands. Why not? Scarier the better. Wait, I'm sorry. Which parties did you go to? What?
Well, I did put dry ice in some of ours, but the key is you put it in. Here's the pro tip: you put it in a separate bowl and float it inside the punch bowl, but you don't put it in the glass. That's not good. You certainly don't put it in individual glasses. They do have these little plastic cubes, probably not real environmental because I don't think you can swap out the batteries, so they end up just being disposable, but they're little LED lights, ice cubes inside, and those are kind of cool, and they activate as soon as you put them in the cup.
So landfill material, basically.
Oh, there's so much. Well, Halloween is nothing but landfill. I do believe, was it M&M Mars or somebody, they were trying to say we're going to create biodegradable or recyclable packaging for all of our Halloween candy.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, good luck with that.
I don't know. There's probably no way to do that.
Good luck with that, people.
Well, I think as far as treats go, there's always these little like Martha Stewart type magazines that pop up in September at the checkout, and there's some really good ones. Like, my wife's favorite was the little mummies, where you take like a sausage. You can do a veggie sausage, and then you spread like this cream cheese pesto on it, and then you wrap linguine around it and put little two chives. They're little mummies. Remember those?
I do remember those. Those were tasty. Those were very tasty.
I don't know about carameled apples. That seem like a little old school and messy.
Well, you gotta have the old school.
But I do recommend picking up those magazines because there's some great crazy ideas, and I mean some of them are a little like, who has the time and the materials to do all this? But Martha Stewart fans.
Well, here's a question for you. We talked about our favorite treats. What is your least favorite Halloween treat? And yes, I do have a point for this.
Okay, well, this goes back to childhood because there was always the candy that you just wolfed down, and you could always tell the shit candy because your mom would go, "Do you have any Halloween candy left?" And you're like, some. Did you eat it all? No. And then they would like look in the plastic pumpkin, and they would find the shit candy that you don't like, and it's still there.
Yep.
Mine was, I hate to say it, Jolly Ranchers fans, but I'm not a big fan of Jolly Ranchers.
Really?
I'm not a big fan of I don't like the lollipops. It's Dum Dums.
Right.
Yeah, and I probably wasn't the biggest fan of Almond Joy or Mounds.
Ooh, yeah, those are gross. Ugh.
I don't mind them now. How about you? What are your least favorites?
Okay, so I wasn't a fan of like the taffies or like, remember the Tootsie Roll-Ups things? Those
Tootsie Rolls in general, it's basically like chocolate hardened wax.
Right, and it gets stuck in your teeth. I don't get that either.
I'm not convinced that your body digests it. I think we all have, I don't know, like a quarter pound of undigested Tootsie Rolls and Tootsie Pop centers from our childhood.
Well, it's formaldehyde. So 10,000 years when they find your body in an archaeological dig, they will find, that candy stuck in your organs. It will be there.
Oh, to be back in the 70s and 80s when you could go to someone's house and they'd give you a popcorn ball wrapped in cellophane. Imagine that now.
Okay, but for me, the number one candy that I absolutely hate, which I refer to as the devil's feces, is candy corn. Candy corn was sent by God as a curse to the human race. There are some people who will disagree with me, and they're all completely wrong. Candy corn is disgusting. I don't understand it.
I'm going to insert my wife's rebuttal here because clearly it's going to be fighting words. Maybe I need to sort of preface the podcast to say that s'more insults because she loves candy corn.
Why?
I kind of agree with you. Anything that like you could put a wick in and make it a candle and people really structurally won't notice the difference.
Yes.
I don't think that's good candy.
You can melt down candy corn and wax your car with it. It's disgusting. Seriously, I don't get it. Someone, please explain to me why this is considered good.
And now, Audrey's rebuttal.
S'more, I have to disagree with you on this one. Candy corn is the quintessential Halloween candy. It's been around for decades. And if it's been around for decades, it means because people like it. You can not only just eat it on its own, you can put it on cupcakes, you can make little decorations with it. It's yummy. It's a good complement to loads of things. This is coming from the guy who doesn't like pizza and the guy who, I don't know, doesn't even like chocolate. Sorry, you're vetoed. Oh, and by the way, candy pumpkin's even better than candy corn.
Oof, that was a harsh rebuttal. This is where we insert guest who gives you the history of candy corn. Because, it's like yellow, white, and orange. Why? Is it because I think it looks like teeth. Is it a nod to old Celtic people's rotting teeth?
Maybe.
From the 18th century?
I think it's a lame attempt to depict what a corn stalk looks like. But, I mean,
it does say candy corn.
It does say candy corn, but those colors mean yellow, which is, vomit. White.
Well,
which is
the Brax Candy Company would disagree because clearly it's been a profit leader for decades now.
Well, here's another question for you. I mean, along those lines of hateable things, and yes, I'm going to incur the wrath of your wife once again. Pumpkin spice people. Really? Why? It's not even pumpkin. There's no real pumpkin in pumpkin spice, people. It's a concoction designed to enhance your pumpkin. Why? Why?
I think we could do an entire episode on pumpkin spice, and I will bet you there are other podcasts out right now that have devoted an entire episode to pumpkin spice and its allure and its complete overuse in the marketplace with everything from pumpkin spice toilet paper to pumpkin spice scented insoles. I mean, you name it.
Pumpkin spice underwear, pumpkin spice hair gel. You know who you are. You guys use that crap. You do. I don't get it.
I'm surprised that McDonald's or Burger King hasn't done a partnership with Jack in the Box with Starbucks. Pumpkin spice
McNuggets?
burgers. Oh, that might not be that bad.
No.
Well, there are. I don't know what chicken McNuggets are flavored to be anyway, because it's certainly a chicken. So you could probably just add that flavor in, and it'd be an easy.
Probably, and it would probably taste no worse than they actually do now. So there you go.
I wish Doc was here, because one treat that I would like to say that I look forward to that sadly I cannot get over here unless I wanted to spend a ridiculous amount of money is the General Mills Monster cereals.
Ah, yes, I do remember those. Now, are those year-round or are those themed just specifically for Halloween?
I believe that General Mills just releases them in the Halloween window. I thought they were exclusive to Target, but then I noticed that other grocery chains and around the country, I'm sure they do specific end cap partnerships, but they're pretty prevalent. And I think I did see some knockoffs. I think it was like Post or Kellogg's was coming out with Snap, Crackle, Pop, Halloween, trying to get in on the monster cereals. And I'm like, guys, you posers.
So Mooberry instead of Blueberry, or Frankenstein instead of Frankenstein, or...
Well, the internet has these the history of all these cereals. There's probably a couple of YouTube videos that Doc has sent us on the history of the monster cereals and, the pain they went through to get the right ones and the ones that bombed that they don't make anymore, Serial Killer probably was not a flavor that made it past the focus group stage.
Probably not. Doc would know all this. Doc, stop watching the Nolan Marathon. It's your 4th week of watching it. I know how much you love Oppenheimer. We need your cereal knowledge.
Hey there, we'll be right back. And now, back to the show.
So we've kind of covered, the food and some of the drink. One topic of Halloween that I always bring up in various discussions is Halloween music, Halloween songs. And if ever there was a holiday that seems ripe for the pickings for some songwriter and artist to come in and make bank year after year, is Halloween, because Christmas, my gosh, I mean,
oh dear God,
there's got to be
8
probably
billion songs.
There's probably 100 core songs, and you could just do your version of it.
That's true.
And you can put it on an album, and you'll probably have some revenue each year. I mean, obviously, Mariah Carey would never have to work again if she didn't want to.
No.
Because of what she made off her song.
But Halloween music, there isn't a lot. There are like 3 songs I can think of off the top of my head.
All right, well, let's go through some of the. Let's go through them, and
All
we
right.
can throw out ones that I did. One of those let's look up. Esquire's list. It's like 53 best Halloween songs. First of all,
what?
How the hell did you come up with 53? And why 53 and not 50? What was the 53rd one? They're like, nah, I really think that Stevie Wonder's Superstition has to be on the list.
Okay. So, wait, what?
No, I just threw that one out as an example because I know it's on the list. But, why did they come up with 53 at Esquire.com?
Are they reaching? Seriously, 53?
Yes.
They're reaching.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, okay, I'm going to just throw... There's just a couple I'm going to look at.
All right,
they have... Okay, I'm old, so I don't know all of these. John Wayne Gacy Jr. by Sufjan Stevens. I'm saying his name wrong. No clue.
No clue.
Well, Nelly Furtado did Man-Eater. Now, is that a cover of the famous Hall & Oates song?
Not quite. Hers a little bit more poppy and flirty, but Man-Eater for Halloween?
Yes, I think people have put, whoa, here she comes. Watch out, boy. Yeah, it's funny. They will find any word, and if it remotely connects to nighttime or animals of the night. I mean, Werewolves of London, I get it, werewolf. But Blue Moon,
okay.
It's a pun. And those pun songs were used in American Werewolf in London, but they're not scary. Blue Moon is not about, the moon that's going to, turn you into a werewolf.
Not scary, but, I mean, depending on how superstitious you are, bad omen, right?
They have on this list, I got 5 on it featuring Michael Marshall from the Us soundtrack.
Wait, for Halloween?
Now, my guess is because it's from last year's horror movie, then if you had it on your playlist, people would go, oh, yeah.
I guess.
Okay, Radiohead Creep, literally. I guess.
Come on.
It's not a creepy song. It's about a creep.
It's about a creep, but it's not a creep. It's not a horror song. Come on, people. Reaching.
Billie Eilish's Bury a Friend.
Well,
Okay, I haven't heard this song, but just because it's about burying someone, then
I mean, I've heard the song, I guess.
Is it spooky?
I guess, maybe. I mean, Billie Eilish, she can pull off creepy. Respect.
I mean, by that reckoning, then any song that we sing at funerals, like let's put Amazing Grace into your Halloween party playlist.
Depends on how you sing it. If you sing it like Boris, Pickett, Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound.
They go out of their way to fill out 53 songs. Okay, Shakira's She-Wolf. I don't know. I like the thumbnail in the Vivo video, but
That's a good thumbnail.
that could possibly be a good Halloween song. But The Police, Every Breath You Take.
Well, that's a stalker song.
Okay.
It's a
all right,
stalker song. Come on.
Folks,
It is.
folks. Let's go to some of the more traditional ones.
Okay, please.
And we'll throw them out.
Okay, so the Monster Mash, that's one.
Boris, I hope his estate has just put every kid through college since then, because if that guy got screwed on residuals, it'd make me very unhappy. That is the Halloween song.
That is it.
That and one other.
One other. Let's see.
I'll give you a hint. They do flash mobs every year because of it.
Time Warp. Let's do the Time Warp again.
Time Warp definitely in the top 5, but I was thinking one a little more up your alley in terms of costumes you've actually dressed up as more.
The 18 thing? Because I was Mr. T.
I pity the fool who trick-or-treats at my house. Yes, you did a very good Mr. T, but I don't think there's a song associated with it. Do I really need to spell this one out? Do I need to sing it?
Let's see. Nightmare Before Christmas?
Did you dress up as a Nightmare Before Christmas character and I'm not aware of?
No.
I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
They did a music video. It was 15 minutes long.
What? 15-minute long music video.
I'll give you the biggest hint. The album is named
Yes.
the song itself.
Was there a gentleman by the name of Vincent who did the voiceover in the beginning?
Yes, it was an old song. Vincent Van Gogh. It's the only audio recording. He just cut off his ear and he intros the song. Right?
Okay.
Oh,
We're talking about the Thriller. Thriller night.
I don't know. If you had to say which is more quintessential, Monster Mash or Thriller? I mean, if you had to battle them out.
Monster Mash, come on.
Just because it's been around older?
It doesn't matter what generation you're from. It doesn't matter where you live. You've heard the Monster Mash around Halloween. Everyone
I don't
knows
know.
the
I
Monster
think
Mash.
Thriller is probably taking it on, though. 'Cause
Really?
so many young people and their families and their schools do these flash mobs.
I mean, yeah, I guess, but bigger than the Monster Mash for Halloween? It's is that the first song you think of when Halloween comes up? You think of Thriller.
I don't know. Maybe it's like we're comparing White Christmas to Let It Snow, or you know what I mean. It's like they're both so good, so well known, so tied to the holiday that they basically kind of reign together. But aren't they kind of it?
Yeah, I can't think of any other Halloween songs.
After those two, you kind of are getting down to ones that get played at Halloween, but
Right.
really are kind of just associated because people need to fill out a playlist.
Well, okay, creative musicians out there, why don't you do more Halloween-themed music? There's a market for it. You know there is. Come on, people. John, we should write a Halloween song. Let's do it.
Part of the reason is that radio isn't a thing, and that's where everybody went to kind of discover music in general. And you could have a new Halloween song on some Spotify new release playlist, and maybe a handful of people would get it. I think that like John Carpenter's Halloween, if we're talking movie themes. Oh, sorry, I just promoted a movie.
No, you did.
Sorry, folks.
Hand
I would
slap.
say there was an old guy that did a piano song for a movie that might have come out that might have had a theme name attached to it that is the holiday. No, there aren't even a lot of movies other than like, I guess Nightmare Before Christmas, but there's some really bad ones. Eminem's Buffalo Bill.
As a Halloween song?
In all fairness, if I haven't heard it, I shouldn't be commenting on it. Is this like Buffalo Bill from like Silence of the Lambs?
I guess. And I should know this because I know Eminem. I've never heard this.
Well, okay, Rockwell.
Oh, that's
Somebody's
good.
watching me.
That's kind of good. Yeah.
I put it on there.
Yeah, I put it on there. I put that on there.
I don't want to promote a movie, but there was a certain movie that dealt with ghosts and people that would bust them.
Yes. You know what? We totally forgot that one. That is a quintessential Halloween song.
And a lot of kids know that because it kind of like they see the movie and then, yeah. Here's one that I have in my playlist. It's
Yes.
Sympathy for the Devil by the Rolling Stones.
Halloween song?
Well, I mean, please allow me to introduce myself. They used it in
Various-
Vampire Chronicles, Tom
Right.
Cruise, Interview with the Vampire.
Right.
Okay, and this is another one. We're not going to go through every song on the list, but
Okay.
AC/DC's Who Made Who? Who Made You? No clue. Why is that?
Because
It was in a Stephen King movie from the 80s that nobody probably remembers.
Okay, I'm thinking the lead singer has horns on his head. Is that it? When he's singing? Reaching.
What about Psycho Killer by the Talking Heads? Psycho Killer, qu'est-ce que c'est?
I mean, I can't picture going door to door trick or treating with that song playing in my head. I just can't.
What's that song? This town is kind of like a ghost town. Okay.
Ghost Town by John?
No, I forget the name of it. Yeah. Well, okay. So clearly we have literally proved the point that this holiday is in need of some people to come in. There probably are some, and they just never break out. You had to have written it like before the 90s,
That's true.
I guess.
Maybe. Or maybe, I guess we're just too visual now because Halloween is basically a visual holiday where you have lots of costumes and gore and creatures, and maybe that just takes precedent. Who knows?
Well, since we're doing the pro tip thing for Halloween parties, I do think that sprinkling in movie soundtracks doesn't have to be lyrics, songs. So, like, if you have a theme from, we're not going to talk about them due to be respectful of the strike, but
Right.
there's definitely movies that have iconic, scary themes that you could put in there. But it is a little weird when you're throwing a party, and then all of a sudden it gets quiet because say the theme starts out slow, and then it's
Right.
like. You just were blasting the crowd with Time Warp, and then all of a sudden you get like this old Hitchcock's theme. You got to be careful in your playlist. You could just put on Pandora or Spotify and, or Amazon Music, and they'll just play Halloween songs. I used to like to curate a playlist.
Right. Well, speaking of themes, what's the most iconic Halloween theme out there for a movie that we cannot promote?
Well, I think I just said it. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like 4 notes.
4 notes that changed the world.
Yeah, that apparently the director did not have a soundtrack for, and they screened it for the audience members, screened it for the studio investors, and they're like, "Oh, this movie sucks. He said, well, it'll be better with the music," which he wrote like in a week or something. So the story goes.
Oh, that's hilarious. I hope that story is true.
We are also in that sort of world of pop culture and movies and TV and politics, all that stuff, where Halloween costumes reflect what we see. So what do we think are the big costumes? What are we going to see? Whether it's a little kid trick-or-treaters or parties.
We're going to see a shit ton of Barbies. I know it. I feel it. It's coming. Any person with a blonde wig or has blonde hair will be Barbie.
Of any gender will be Barbie.
And any gender, it'll all be Barbie or Ken. We might have a lot of Kens.
Yeah.
And Barbie and Ken. That's probably going to be the number one costume.
I'll bet if you go to the West Hollywood Parade, you may not even see too many female Barbies. I think it's going to be like that might, although it might be a little on the nose. There might be some people who are really good at dressing up as women who are like, yeah, that's a little too, you know what I mean? I think the key to a good costume in the movies is finding one that, I guess it's like with any costume, where when you walk in, people are like, oh, I wish I had thought of that.
True. Oh, you know what? Taylor Swift. There's going to be a lot of Taylor Swift costumes, which look like Barbie costumes.
I don't know. In Grand Rapids, it gets a little cold. My teenage daughter is going as Taylor Swift, but she's wearing a very thick fur-lined corduroy coat.
All you need is a microphone, the blonde hair, and a voice that sounds like this singing.
Well, that was the weird thing. Like when I became a homeowner and I'd have kids come up, and like some of the more mature costumes that they would let their younger kids dressed up as. I mean, I didn't see a 5-year-old dressed as Madonna from the Like a Virgin tour, but it was just kind of like there were a few where like, you sure you really want to? My Charlie Day voice. You sure you want to have your kid dressed like that? Not sure that's appropriate.
Did you see a lot of Suicide Squad Harley Quinns?
Yeah, Suicide Girls was Suicide Girls was popular a couple years ago with like elementary school girls. I didn't know what the concept was, so I heard that it was weird. But yeah, Harley Quinn was popular. But this year, I think the big one, just in general, because it's just tailor-made. And it's actually one that's been around. You would still see it, but particularly this year will be Wednesday.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. I can see that. I can totally see that.
And, you see parents dressed up as, Gomez and Morticia. And then, and I think there were some of her friends in that show had they were colorful enough costumes that you could, get around it. Obviously, Barbenheimer might come up. There might be, people dressed up. Mario and Luigi, don't forget.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, we're talking about movies again. We're just disrespecting the strike.
We're not saying the same in the movie, though. We're not saying the name.
Yeah, we're saying the video game.
Saying the video game. Yes.
Right.
Are we going to see a lot of maybe some MCU stuff? Loki, maybe some Star-Lord, Rocket Raccoon?
We're talking about comic books, not the movies and TVs. Remember that.
Yeah, the comic books. Comics. Strictly comics. No TV, no movies.
I don't know. I mean, I do wonder if superheroes are always popular or if some people are a little tired. I remember I was talking to someone, we were talking about Halloween costumes, and there was one of the families were with us, and the younger girl in the family was talking about costumes. And I gave her kind of the idea of abstract costumes, a conceptual costume. So you would basically take a phrase or a word, kind of like charades, in costume form. So people have to guess the pun or the phrase you are. So
okay, I know what you're talking about.
So if you're going to be Barbie, wear the blonde wig and the high shoes and just glue a bunch of plastic shrimps all over yourself.
Shrimp on the Barbie?
Yeah, or you would be, maybe dress as a barbecue, physically build a barbecue. I'm Barbie.
Or
I'm Bobby.
You know what? You can dress like a bee and carry a crowbar with you.
Yeah.
Barbie. Get it?
Or,
okay.
or have if it's a partner thing. So one person could be literally a bar of chocolate, or or physically dress as a bar with cocktails,
right?
And then have the bee. Yeah, but you have to be, those couple costumes are tough because if you separate,
Well, see, that's my pet peeve. Even as a kid, this might be some costume snobbery on my part, but I never liked going as someone you have to guess who they are, or going as a team for that reason.
Esoteric ones, or
esoteric, or just team group costumes, unless it's a really well-known group or individuals within the group. For example, say I was white and I dressed up as Howling Matt Murdock in the A-Team. Without the A-Team, who's going to know who I am? You're just a crazy-looking dude in a hat.
No, it'd be funny if you were just if you did dress as Howling Mad Murdock, and you've got the leather jacket, and didn't he have a baseball cap?
Baseball cap.
And you're I'm the guy from the A-Team, and there people are oh, that is the worst B.A. Baracus costume I've
right?
ever seen.
Exactly. No one's gonna know who I am. Why would I do that?
We have had friends that have done some pretty good group, mainly for Comic-Con. The cosplay was the Keanus. Do you remember?
Oh, that was good.
They pulled that off.
The Keanus were good. Yeah.
Was there a Game of Thrones one? I don't remember.
Oh, there was a Mad Max one. Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Furiosa.
Well, just speaking of our group, there was a year where we just kind of all did Universal Monsters.
Yes.
I don't know if we even agreed to it. I just said I was doing the Mummy.
Right.
And then it just sort of kind of dominoed. One guy showed up with the best Frankenstein costume. Remember, he took a beer box.
Right.
It was a 6-pack and made it into a Frankenstein head. It was the best costume ever. He pulled it off.
Do you remember my costume?
You were Blackula.
Count Blackula. Yep.
And we had a Wolfman. We had a witch.
Yep.
We had a Dorothy, which wasn't Universal. That was MGM. But
that's right.
It still worked.
Still worked.
Yeah.
Still good. Still good.
Yes. No, I think the group ones, they're good, but yeah, you have to have a committed group. And there's always going to be a few people that either get the short end of the stick with a dumb character or something so hard to put together.
Right.
And if they don't do it right, it's really embarrassing.
Or the one where you have to have gear for the costume, and so you're carrying stuff around all night long. That sucks.
Or the one where you basically either just did a Spirit Halloween or Amazon, $40 out of the bag costume, and I had to assemble pieces. I spent $300 so I could do mine appropriately. You're gonna go as Star Wars and you show up in a bathrobe with just a cheap plastic sword, and someone shows up they did the 501st Stormtrooper costume,
right? Or a TIE fighter, or someone shows up as a TIE fighter.
Yes, we had a friend who did that. That was pretty awesome.
Which, by the way, wouldn't want to walk around a party dressed as a TIE fighter. That's just too much work.
Yeah, and we'll go to the pro tip since I did bring up the Quint costume from years ago where I built the full orca boat that I wore as I dressed up as, Robert Shaw. Make sure your costume can navigate a crowded party.
Yes.
You may go to a party where there's going to be a big backyard. You may go to a party that's in someone's apartment, and that is a costume. It's not easy to navigate.
You will knock down glassware, I'm just saying. You'll knock down glass.
Yeah, you'll get in a fight. You'll knock over some guy's girlfriend's glass, and then he's gonna be dressed as some Mad Max character.
Right. He'll get pissed off. Big fight.
Well, I don't. Again, where I am, I don't have the Spirit Halloween store, so I don't know kind of like what are the cheesy D-bag popular couple type costumes for the Spirit Halloween ones you get in the bag.
Right.
Have you seen any of those?
Well, there's a lot of American politicians you can dress up as along those lines. I will not name names, but
Or you could just get like some pink cotton candy and glue it to your head and spray paint yourself orange, and you don't have to spend much money.
There you go. Done and done.
I do appreciate that the people that plan their costumes months in advance. We did a whole episode on Halloween costumes, if you recall, I think it was 2020. And we talked about how some of us when we were kids, we would plan it out and months kids still, when we're adults, plan it out months in advance.
Yep. It was fun. Finished product. You put it on, you're proud of your work, but the planning, the time, but usually worth it.
Yeah, definitely worth it. I hope that Halloween this year, despite all of the nuttiness and depressing, upsetting, and economically depressing things, that people still find their way into Halloween, whether it's watching scary movies or giving out candy, throwing a party, or going to those haunted houses. Now that the pandemic has sort of eased up in a way that people feel comfortable going to, horror nights and those haunted house experiences. I hope that people get back into it because we need to keep this holiday tradition going and spread it in other countries like I'm going to do.
We need to keep it alive, y'all. Keep hope alive.
I think that was pretty good discussion, I think.
I think so.
I wish Doc was here.
Well, like I said, he needs to stop watching Oppenheimer for the 50th time.
I think he's really working on his Oppenheimer. I think he's going to go as Little Boy or, whatever. He's going to go as the bomb.
Oh my God. Like detonated bomb or like pre-detonation bomb?
I don't think a mushroom cloud, no. But then, built by Nolan or something,
Built by Nolan.
S'more, I think we've successfully dissected and supported Halloween. What do you think?
I think we have. And again, people go out, support your local Halloween shops, and go to those parties and keep the tradition alive if you can.
Got to keep those dentists in business from all of those rotten teeth with those kids.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks again to those of you, both openly geeky and closeted geeky, for joining us on this expanded universe journey. This has been S'more, and with me always is my geektacular co-host,
John H.H. And remember that this is your safe space to talk about all things geeky and spooky, although we didn't get too spooky, mainly geeky. And this is also where you can get your geek on, or you could get your Halloween costume idea on. I'm going to do it like Vincent Price. Geek out.
Well done. Well done.
Oh, no, I think I'm going to do it like, what's his name? Boris, the guy that sang Monster Mash.
Yeah.
Geek out.
Can I do it like Bane? I believe you must now geek out.
I think we've got it.